Hey everyone, welcome to Environmental Health class. As you know, in this semester we're gonna work with GIS as a powerful tool for analyzing environmental health problems. And ArcGIS Desktop is the platform for our analysis. In today's class, I'm going to show you the environment of ArcGIS Desktop, or more specifically ArcMap, and make a very simple map of the number of historical disasters that have occurred in Ohio. This will helps us to summarize the data and identify the areas that had been highly influenced in Ohio. So the first question is how we can launch ArcMap 10.7. We can find ArcMap 10.7 from Start menu, and then under Academic Software, here it is. Here is ArcMap 10.7. So ArcGIS Desktop consists of several modules. The most important ones are ArcMap and also ArcCatalog, which is here, ArcCatalog. So ArcCatalog is used for organizing and management of spatial or geographic data, and ArcMap is used for to analyze, visualize, and edit the geographic or environmental data. And ArcMap is the main module that is used in this semester. So let's go ahead and click ArcMap 10.7. When you open your ArcMap, you will see a pop-up window. This window asks you, do you want to open existing map or make new map using a template? So we're not going to use template or existing map, so because we were going to start from scratch. So we can close this window. So here is the environment of ArcMap 10.7, which is split into two white sections. The section on the left is called Table of Content. So this part is Table of Content. Here is where all of your layer of information, or in other words, GIS data, will be placed. So the name of the layer and also the type of the layer will be placed here. And the section on the right called Data View, where all of your layers will be displayed here. The other important menu is Main Menu. This is the main menu. So it has a broad application, but for example, one of them is when you close your table of content, you can recover table of content from Windows and table of contents. Or the other one, the other important tool is called Standard Tool. So this one is a standard tool. So you can create a new map, open an existing map, save, print. One of the most important button here is Add Data button. So Add Data button allows you to load GIS data such as shapefile, raster file, tables, and so forth into ArcMap. The other important button in the standard tools is Arc Toolbox, this red box which contains almost all of the tools in ArcGIS Desktop. So we will talk about the standard tools in the future. The other one is Tools Toolbar, which is very important. In the future labs we will use Tools Toolbar, but you can drag it and then place it in an appropriate location. From the Blackboard, go ahead and download lab1_data.zip and then save it in lab1 folder. So from this PC, remember that we use GIS_labs folder, and then we create lab1, and then I saved it here. And then you need to unzip the data into the lab1 folder. This is because ArcGIS cannot read the zip file, so you need to right click and extract all, and then extract it here. You can see that I never use space naming the folder. So click extract, and you can see that this is a type of a GIS data which is called a shapefile. In this lab, we're gonna map out the number of historical disasters in Ohio. So I've got the data from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA website. So this data contains total number of declared disasters between 1964 to 2011. So the data, as I said, the data includes number of disasters for each county in Ohio. So the first step for us is to load this shapefile into ArcMap. We should use Add Data button. So remember that for any kind of GIS data, you have to first connect to the folder that contains that GIS data. This icon is Connect to Folder. So if you want to open any type of GIS data, first you have to connect to this folder and then navigate to the folder that contains that GIS data. For example, H drive, and then I select GIS Labs because it contains my save data, and then click OK. So now you can double click on lab, again lab1_data, and here you can see a green shapefile, a green color shapefile, and it's also in the polygon format because it shows counties in Ohio. So Connect to Folder acts as a shortcut, because if I close this window and if I want to click on Add Data, and if I go back to folder connection, I can see that GIS Labs, and then here. So select lab1_data.shp or shapefile, and then click on Add. So you can see that in the table of content here, we have name of the layer, which is lab1_data, and also type of the layer, which is polygon. In the data view, you will see the layer that have been displayed. So this is a map of Ohio counties, but it's single color and it's not really informative. We want to color code this map based on number of historical disasters that had happened in Ohio. Just remember that here is the geometry or geographic part of the GIS data. We also have attribute or description for this shapefile or GIS data. In order to see the attribute or characteristics of the data, you need to right click on the name of the shapefile in table of content. So this one is lab1_data, right click, and then select Open Attribute Table, okay, to see the description, see the attributes. We need to open the attribute table. So in this table, each row, or also known as a record, each record corresponds to one feature on the map. Okay, for example, if I select this one on the map, something is collected. Okay, if I select several, so each record corresponds to one feature on the map, and each column represents a characteristics, a description. For example, for Franklin County, okay, that's here. So we can see the number of flood in 1964, ice storm, 0 storm, number of storms in 1964, and so forth, so on. So we have information for Franklin County organized in several fields. Here we can see that we have 88 counties in Ohio. So here one selected out of 88 counties. So here we have number of features. So we can understand number of features from this part, number of polygons. We're gonna make a map, or technically choropleth map or shaded map, of the total number of disasters in Ohio. So just remember that the name of the field, which field represents the total number of disasters, this field, total declared disaster, total_DECL. So we're gonna make a map based on this field. For making a choropleth map, we should right click on the layer name in table of content, and then select the last option, which is properties. So to color code the map, we need to go to the symbology tab, and after that, under quantities, select graduate color. In this box, you should specify that based on which field you want to make a map, which, as you remember, was total number of declared disasters. Here also you can select number of the classes. Okay, for example, if I change the number of classes to 3, we only have 3 categories: low, medium, high. If I change it to 5, maybe it's very low, low, medium, high, very high number of disasters. You can also change the color ramp. For example, so the red one, maybe we should flip the colors, flip the symbol. So the green color shows very low number of disasters, and the red one shows the very high number of disasters. So let's click on apply to see what happens. So what happened, you can see that, so it's color coded the map. It's so much better than a single map, single color map. And also here we have a legend. Okay, so it shows that the red one is the highest. Okay, so if I do not use this legend, we cannot always say that the red one is the highest. If I flip the symbol, maybe the red one is the lowest. Okay, so you must have a legend for your map. It's mandatory for all of your maps. So click apply and then OK. Now let's add some other features to the map. For example, you can double click, or you can go to properties and symbology, graduate color. So here let's add label to the legend. Okay, so here I can just click here on the label, and then I type very low. So what happens? Low, you have to finish it and then click apply. After that we will see the changes: low, medium, high, and very high. Okay, apply, and okay, so you can see some descriptions. Okay, so you can change the labels in the legend too. You can remove 2.2 to 4 and only have very low, low, medium, high, very high. So again, if you double click in the symbology tab, graduate color, maybe we want to add the label to the map to show that, for example, to see the name of the county. Okay, this is called label. You need to add a label. You have to go to the labels tab, and then here you have to check this box which says label features in this layer. Okay, and also don't forget that based on which field you want to label this map, so it's based on the name of the county, right? We want to have the name of the county for each county. So click county, apply, and OK. So here you can see the name of the counties for each county. You can see that we have been highly affected. One of the counties with very high number of the total declared disasters. Okay. So when you're happy with your map, such as color, legend, number of classes, it's time to add map elements such as north arrow, which shows the orientation of the map, or scale bar, which helps us to estimate distance or area on the map, and the legend to the map, or these categories. so and so forth, so on. So we need to switch to a new environment. So to add these elements, we need to go to the layout view, which is here, a small button right next to the data view, okay, with the name of layout view. So when you click on layout view button, you will go to the new environment where you can add these elements. So in the data view you couldn't add the element, but in the layout view you can add all of the necessary elements. So the first question is, how can I add north arrow? From insert menu, go ahead and select north arrow and select any type of north arrow that you like, okay? So it depends on you. So I select this one. You can see that a north arrow will be added to my map. Okay, that's here. So you can move it to a good place, or maybe here, and then also you can resize it. You can make it bigger or smaller. Okay, put that here. So north arrow shows you the orientation of the map. Okay. So the next one is scale bar. Again, from the insert menu, you can select scale bar and then select any of the scale bar that you like, such as this one, and then click OK. So a scale bar will be added to your map. If you wanna see more details of it, you can move it to a good location. So the values are very neat and very good for estimating the distance or estimating the areas. But sometimes you will have something like sometimes, for example, you have like this. Okay, so the values are like this and they're not good. So it depends on the study area. If your study area is very large, such as Ohio, so the unit fit is not okay. Okay, so you have to change the unit, depends on the size of the study area. So for this purpose, you have to double click on the scale bar, and for the Ohio, maybe mile is the best unit. So I select miles, apply, and OK. So what does it mean? It means that this distance on the map equals to 30 miles on the ground. Okay, so you can kinda estimate the distance using the scale bar. Okay, and also we have some subdivisions. So this distance, each division equals to 7.5 miles. Yes, 7.5 miles underground. Okay, so you can change the number of subdivisions. So its subdivision is used to have more accurate estimations of the distance. Okay, so if you want to change the number of subdivisions, you can change number of subdivisions to, for example, 2, and apply, and OK. So each subdivision now equals to 15 miles. That's how scale bar works. But again, if your study area is small, for example, if you are working at the BW campus, maybe miles is not a good option. Okay, you will get decimal numbers. But in this case, maybe you should use meters or feet for as the length unit. So you should also add a title to your map. Some people are not familiar with the map of Ohio. Think about a very small village in Ohio. Maybe it's familiar to you, but not for everyone. So your map should be very informative and easy to read and understand. So in order to add a title, again, we should go to the insert menu and then title. and here you can type your title, which is number of disasters in Ohio. From 1964 to 2011. Click OK. So you can see that the title has been added to your map. You can edit this title by double click on it and then click on change symbol. You can change the size of it, for example 24, or font to Times New Roman, and make it bold. Click OK, apply OK. So you can edit the title too. You can also resize the map. So if your map is not, so there is extra space, so you can resize the map. So you should also provide some information about the person who created the map, date of creation, map projection, source of data. So you can use insert text, which adds a very small text here. Just double click on it and here type your name by your name, date, which is August 2019. Map projection, maybe we'll talk about that in this semester. Source of data from FEMA, and then apply OK. So you can see that some information has been added. You can move it to a good place. So again, you can change the symbol, font, size, style, and so forth. So the most important thing that I forgot to mention is we need to add the legend to our map too. So how we can insert the legend, again from insert, legend, and here preview, finish. You can see that a legend has been added to your map. In order to revise this legend, double click on the legend. For example, if we want to remove the word legend here, you can uncheck this box, apply OK. Or if we want to have another style, we can go to the item, double click on the legend first, items, style, and then select layer name and label. OK, apply OK. So you can see that it's only based on the name of the layer. It removes the total decoration. So if you want to change the name of the layer, you can from here change it to number of disasters. So you can see that when I click here, it automatically changed the name of the layer here. So I can put this information here and then legend here. So the last thing is that you need to add a boundary around your map, which is called needs line. From insert menu, needs line, you can add a boundary, but the background I want to be hollow or without any color, and it places a boundary around all elements. Click OK, so it's the boundary around the elements. So when you're happy with your map, this is my map that I think is ready to be exported. I need to export this map. But also, the thing that I forgot to mention is that you should always save your map, especially when you're working a very big project. You should frequently save your map. It's very easy. File, save, and then save it. You have to navigate to lab 1 folder and save it here. So it's an MXD file. Map document is to save the project with the name of Ohio_disaster. So again, here I do not use disaster. Here I do not use space for naming the folder, not space for naming the path, and also the naming the folder, and then click save. Okay. So then the final thing is that you need to export your map as a PDF or JPEG file. For this purpose, I go to the file menu and then export map with the name of Ohio_disaster.pdf. Here you can use a higher quality, for example 600 dpi dot per inch. The higher value shows the higher quality, and also the larger volume, and then hit save. So in the lab 1 folder I can see that it creates here is a PDF file. Okay, so it's very complete. Title, labels, color coded. Here we have legend, scale bar, north arrow, information about the creator of the map, date, source of information. So it's a very basic map, a basic corrupted map of the number of disaster in Ohio. So you can see that. So these areas have been highly affected. These areas have been very low number of disasters, had very low number of disasters. So you can also export your map as JPEG file in order to copy and paste your map into your write-up. So export map, change it to JPEG, and here you can increase the DPI to 500, for example. And then if you go to the format, you can have a grayscale or black and white map, or the true color. So I select the true color, save, and again if I go to this lab 1 folder I can find a JPEG file. Why it takes some time? Because it's a large file, 2 megabyte. It's not that large. Maybe let's open it with Paint. So it's your map. Your map is here. Okay. So finally, you should save your result on multiple locations such as flash drive or clouds or OneDrive or your personal drive or Edge drive. That's how we make a very basic map in ArcGIS Desktop, and that's all for this lab.